News of what's occurring in Ward 21, Wrenthorpe and Outwood West. This is WowCast. So what have you been doing since you recorded the last WowCast, I hear you ask? Well, I attended street surgeries. We both attended theme surgeries on public transport, and we attended meetings to do with projects and casework in the ward. I also held a road audit on Appleshaw Crescent. We both attended the full council where we put forward and spoke on women's issues to do with the police, and that was well reported in the press. A couple of things though for future WowCasts. One of them is the redrawing of the boundaries of the new Southgate surgery. I don't know that it affects that many in our ward, but we'll find out and report back in future WowCast episodes. And the other one is to discover what your opinion is on autonomous delivery vehicles. Yeah, robots delivering to your door. Only a project at the moment, but it could be rolled out, and I want to know your opinions of it. That's the thing for the future WowCast. Take care now.
I like the idea of those themed surgeries.
I'm here with one of the main organisers of something. He's done a fantastic day's work this year, but I tell you what, he did a fantastic day's work 50 years ago and all. This is Tony Banks. Can I just say thank you to Tony, Eddie Downs, the City of Sheffield Pipe Band, the Lofthouse Colliery, the Lofthouse 2000 band, and the Skelmanthorpe Male Voice Choir.
Yeah.
Also, Reverend Glenn Coggins and Bishop Tony Robinson for doing a fantastic service yesterday. We're going to do another little piece here today in Alverthorpe. They won't be forgotten, Tony.
No, they won't, Charlie. And well, I've got you here, but all right. We've got. Don't forget, we've got one on Tuesday to do.
We've got one on the actual date. Tuesday.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, when I can remember when I come home from work that morning, Charlie, at 9 o'clock. The weather was just like it is now. It was the first day of spring. And there were people in the street, and I was late home because I had to go see the manager for my instructions what I had to do, because he said I want you to do 12-hour nights. So I got my instructions what I was doing each day, for so long. But that 6 days when rescuers were here, it felt like years. And when you look back, it was just six days while they pulled out and had that meeting at Outwood.
Yeah.
That's part of your constituency, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've been around a bit, Charlie, haven't we?
We've been around a bit of time. But I tell you what, Tony, I've just walked down the street here, parked car up at B. Alverthorpe Church, walked down, talked to a bloke cutting his edge.
Yeah.
And he told me his dad worked there. He says, and also, he swapped his shift, otherwise he would have been on that shift.
Yeah, I know it.
2 weeks ago, I knocked on the door, a bloke says, I put 3 rest days in to paint my house, otherwise I'd have been on.
Yeah. Well, one of them, he swapped a shift because he got married and they're going on honeymoon next day. So we were lucky, wasn't he?
Lots of lucky people, and we're one of them, Tony. We're still here to talk about it.
Well, for how long we don't know, right? But we'll keep going, Charlie.
Aim at the sky, we might hit the ceiling. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Charlie, for all you've done for this place and village.
Few minutes of your time on WowCast now to explain something that's going to take place in the UK for the first time this year, especially if you vote at a polling station. For the first time, you're going to be asked to bring with you photo identification. This is the form from Wakefield District Council. I'm going to show to you now 4 different lanyards that I carry about with me. One of them allows me to go into the Wakefield Metropolitan District Council and represent you as a district councillor. One allows me to go into the West Yorkshire Fire and Rescue Authority and represent you once again as your district councillor. One of them allows me to go into Pinderfields Hospital and work as a volunteer. One of them allows me to come into your home and work on the most volatile fuel that's ever going to be in there, because this is my gas safe card, especially if that gas is leaking. I can come into your property. However, they all carry my photo identification and they are all checked out and verified every year, but none of them would be accepted as photo identification to allow me to vote. Only these 2 things that I possess, either my driving licence or my passport, would be allowed as photo identification at the polling stations. I'm going to read you now, listen up, the list of things from the official form that I've got here of what would qualify for you to bring with you to be qualified as voter identification. Accepted forms of voter identification. You must present one of the following forms of photo identification to vote at a polling station. Either a passport, as we've discussed, or a driving licence, as we've discussed, or a biometric immigration document, don't know what one of them is, or an identity card bearing the proof of age standard scheme's hologram, a pass card, don't know what one of them is, or a Ministry of Defence Form 90 form, which is the Defence Identity Card, or a blue badge, or a national identity card issued by an EEA state, again don't know what that stands for, or an older person's bus pass, or a disabled person's bus pass, or an Oyster card 60 plus card, or a freedom pass. There's more R's here than there is on the boat race. But, or you can apply for one of these, a voter authority certificate, or be that temporary or permanent. However, you will need your national insurance number and you'll need to upload a photograph. Now, if you find that a little bit difficult, please pop down to your library with your NHS number, national insurance number, and your photograph. And it can't be a photograph of you stood on the top of the Cairngorms in a woolly hat or at Bridlington on a deck chair. It's got to be on a neutral background like this. Take that down to your library, because the library staff have been trained to get you to be able to register for a voter authority certificate. However, the final bit, you may be required to provide further proof of identity if there's any discrepancy between your name as shown on the form of the photographic identification and the name of the elector or proxy you claim to be. I've been told that you can take out-of-date ones of those documents, an old passport, provided that the image on the passport looks like the image that you represent now. Okay? This is the first time I've ever done this, and I know it's the biggest, I know what you're going to say, it's the biggest advertisement to have a postal vote there's ever been. But what we're saying is we want people to be able to register their vote. We want them to exercise their franchise to vote as much as we possibly can. So don't forget, this year, first time, you've got to take voter identification. Simple little thing to remember. If you're going to vote at the polling station, take some photo identification. WowCast is the way of us letting you know what we've been doing in the ward over the last month, not a public information film. However, the subject of on-street parking in the vicinity of the junction of Wrenthorpe Road and Wrenthorpe Lane is getting very serious. People park over line markings designed to allow access to houses. People park on pavements, restricting pedestrian usage. People double park to make deliveries. People use car parks that are contrary to their owners' wishes. Be it overnight or for just a few minutes once or twice a day, it is a potential cause of upset and antisocial behaviour, whatever the establishment that you're visiting in the area. So we're asking you, please park carefully and park responsibly to avoid enforcement or the attention of the West Yorkshire Police. So what's happening next month? Well, a period called PERDA takes us up to the election time for Wakefield Metropolitan District Council at the beginning of May. My colleague Nadia Sharp will be taking on all the casework for that period as I'm up for re-election at that time. You'll be receiving many manifestos through your letterboxes. I'm sure hopefully one of them will be mine. If you don't get one of my manifestos, give me a ring on 01924 299 699 and I'll get one to you as soon as I can. If not, I'll speak to you soon again on WowCast.
Has been a good councillor for over 10 years, and he knows the ropes, and he does a very good job.